The world is gripped in fear, uncertainty, and doubt as it seems that China has proceeded to ban all ICOs in their nation. While we're not sure if this is entirely true or how true, or to the extent that the government is going to be fudding, what we do recall is what Warren Buffett said, to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Today, in our prequel news, we will review a story about a research delegation which had visited Coinbase and Ripple and other blockchain companies in San Francisco last week. And this included the People's Bank of China to understand significant issues in cryptocurrency. So in this meeting with various US blockchain companies, what was the mission of this delegation? Why were they focused on the US approaches to blockchain regulation? And do we know the number of effective and valuable conclusions that they reached together in these past few weeks here before this latest ICO announcement? Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. There's a lot happening in the space today of Bitcoin and blockchain and different cryptocurrencies and digital assets. We're seeing a lot of red. People are definitely freaking out, especially as a lot of people were seeing this whole market go in a direct line straight for the moon. We've actually hit this bump in the road, as usual, from China. This happens all the time, and if you're familiar with the space, then you know that hearing that China say Bitcoin's going to be illegal and crashing the market is nothing new to you. And if you are relatively new to the Bitcoin and blockchain industry, then welcome to sort of the state of affairs of what happens and when this happens. It's usually a good time to buy in these dips, and what we see is a continued direction of our expectations and where we see the industry headed. So thanks for being here. We're going to get right into the news. Thanks for showing up. Tap that like button. Leave your comments and your questions in the notes below as you have them in the comments below. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all the donations and well wishes from everyone out there viewing these videos. And also feel free to check us out on Steemit and leave those comments and those upvotes over there as well. So with that being said, let's jump right into the market. Let's take a peek at this news that we skipped over last week, and let's discuss. All right, so starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, we see where we are in the moment. We still have 866 different currencies and assets out there in the marketplace. The overall market cap has dropped pretty significantly down to $151 billion. That's $151 billion. And in the past 24 hours, we've had, relatively high trading volume, $8.5 billion, and our Bitcoin dominance has increased to 47.4%. So the amount of Bitcoin inside the space has increased as the amount of value and money inside cryptocurrencies overall has decreased about 4.6% for Bitcoin, and then straight down the line for pretty much everything else as well. And when we look at these numbers in terms of the Bitcoin value, it's pretty similar. It's straight red all the way down the line with double dips coming from lots of different currencies, especially NEO, since this, NEO is being dubbed as the Ethereum of China. And if this is now essentially illegal in China, then what does that mean for the future of NEO? I don't think anyone has anything to worry about. I think that honestly, the Chinese and the Chinese government is going to use this as an opportunity for them to seek their own position in the space. And after they had this meeting in San Francisco with these other companies that we'll be talking about in a moment, I really wonder if they're using the game plan inside the United States also inside China. And so we'll be doing a little bit of commentary and speculation about that as well. And so overall, we're not going to watch this whole video, but why did Bitcoin drop in value?
Let's say China. 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 You go over to China. 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 China.
Enough of that. But it's China. It's again this news. There was this famous South Park episode that talked about how they can crash the Bitcoin price because this is so prevalent in the past. And so even South Park, sort of talked, hey, this is the internet. This is the People's Bank of China. We want to ban Bitcoin. And then we see the Bitcoin price fall. That has been a repeated pattern. And now what we're seeing is that with the ICO market. And they're probably taking advantage of this in the same sort of way. And so this is the idea. Just hold. And then Mel Gibson has it down. We're not going to watch this whole video either. What we're going to do? All right. And so we're not going to watch the rest of that. But and then just how do we get into this? Well, what a lot of people are recommending is just that dollar cost averaging. A lot of people feel like if they can't get a whole Bitcoin, then it's not good enough for them. But start thinking about Bitcoin in terms of a quarter bit, right? Just a 0.25 Bitcoin or 0.1 Bitcoin. Or this person right here is that they're going to buy $10 of Bitcoin instead of their daily cigarettes. And so whatever it takes for you, $10 a day is $300 a month. That's almost 0.1 Bitcoin every month, right? And so after 12 months, that's going to potentially get him very close to owning one whole Bitcoin, depending on how much the prices go up and how quickly that is. And so what's going on? We know China banned all the ICOs. What does that mean that China banned all the ICOs? We have these different documents that I'll leave for you in the links below. And so this is translated using Google Translate. And this just gets into some of the details about what they're saying from the People's Bank of China at pbc.gov.cn. And so this information will be in there. But again, fear, uncertainty, doubt, making it difficult for people just to create fundraising for their companies, having it so these companies and these people need to go through the proper loops, the proper regulations, the proper anti-money laundering laws that the country and an existing banking system of China has, to also implement Know Your Customer KYC laws. So any company that wants to create an ICO in China, they're going to have these AML and these KYC laws for anyone inside of China. And that's going to create a lot of control, a lot of infrastructure at the government level for the people in China, at the banking level of the people in China, and at the corporation level of the people in China. So there's going to create this distance between, common folk, ordinary folk, and everyone else that has a vested interest or existing standing, or, if you already have a company and if you have money, then you're going to have to follow the rules in order to get inside the system and be able to play, just because of the red tape, essentially, that's going to be put up. And so it's essentially in China, just like America, they want to make it so you can't just pop open an ICO, start a blockchain technology, and do things that's going to allow people and you to be private and anonymous. Now, technically, you're not going to be able to stop anybody if they don't know who you are and that sort of nature, but that'd be playing a really risky game, because, to have your identity and, to not have to worry about that, then you're going to have to play by the rules. Otherwise, it's additional learning that you're going to have to go through. All right, now into the other news, and this came out last week, August 30th, from the Cointelegraph. And so we were going to talk about this before, but ran out of time with the other videos that we were doing. And so the China regulators visited Coinbase and others to discuss significant crypto issues. And the people that came included the actual people from the People's Bank of China, PBOC, that had visited Coinbase, Ripple, other companies as part of this delegation, again, to talk about significant issues of cryptocurrency. So there's this quote here that the People's Bank of China was one of the parties to travel, with representatives also coming from Shanghai New Finance Research Institute and Peking University Digital Finance Research Center, among others. And so the delegation members reached a number of effective and valuable conclusions while they were in San Francisco, and these surrounded the fintech regulatory approaches, as Sohu reports. And so in addition to Coinbase and Ripple being at these meetings as a part of this delegation, Circle also participated in hosting the task force, along with other startups such as Sophie and Prosper in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so we have different, what do we have going on? So the People's Bank of China Digital Monetary Research Institute pointed out that the issuance of legal digital money is significant, and the publication continues in the context of the Chinese authorities' current efforts to issue a centralized digital form of the renminbi, which is Chinese currency. And so China is putting all of this scrutiny on the ICO industry. They're putting all of this scrutiny on Bitcoin and traditional blockchain technology as well. They've already put out this information before that was just saying how there was this huge gray area with the ICOs in China. And previously, media sources reported that the risks of punishments were as harsh as death for participation in distribution of unsanctioned money schemes such as ICOs. It's pretty harsh to have the sanction of death. Is that true? I mean, no links over here. Oh, maybe. Oh, here we go. From Cointelegraph. Wow. So there's links inside the article. You guys can dive deeper into some of these. I don't think in the United States we have penalties as harsh as death. But the Securities and Exchange Commission has suspended the activities of several token operators across the state because they were cautioned against operating and distributing what could be defined as a security, which has additional rules and regulations about who can offer those and who can participate in those. And yeah, this is just really, really interesting. There's a deeper article again where China is quietly testing the digital hybrid technology. They could be doing this with Circle. They could be doing this with one of these other distributed payment systems, distributed ledger technologies that is not necessarily a decentralized blockchain technology, but is a controlled distributed ledger which uses blockchain technology but doesn't have the security or the privacy that you would expect to see in something like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or Dash or Monero, for example. Talking about Circle for a second, Circle's based in Boston, Massachusetts, and they used to provide a Bitcoin-based wallet, but they've been very, very clear that they are now more than ever not a consumer Bitcoin exchange, and they will continue to focus on resources and global social payments and the future of next generation blockchain technology that has essentially nothing to do with Bitcoin. They want to get away from Bitcoin, and that's where they want to go. And if you want to find out additional information about companies like Circle or any sort of company in the news, and you want to do some of your own research, you can go to Google News and you can search it there. Alternatively, you can go to some of the publications that we talk about here in this channel inside the industries, such as the Cointelegraph at cointelegraph.com, and you can go to their tags and you can put in Circle and check out all the articles where they talked about Circle. And so you can get information about how Circle terminates Bitcoin trading, focuses on next generation platforms, how Goldman-backed Circle E payment network gets their UK license. They also have their New York State BIT license as well. Circle building global vision thanks to $50 million investment from Goldman Sachs and others. And so you just get this sort of understanding of the news that's coming out around different companies or different topics in the space. Former JP Morgan Chase manager directors joining Circle. So you can really see the direction. And so companies like Circle can take this distributed ledger technology and they can sell it to companies. They can sell it to banks. They can sell it to governments. And then the governments and the banks and the corporations with consolidated power and lobbying and whatnot, they can create red tape and create rules that help their particular blockchain technologies grow. And it won't destroy the growth of something like Bitcoin or Ethereum or any decentralized technology, but it can hamper it. It can stunt it. It can slow down the growth. As long as they tell people, who follow the rules and follow the laws, and 90% of us across the country, or the 80%, 75%, 50% of the people who follow the rules, no jaywalking, no smoking funny leaves, everyone that's following the rules inside the society, those are going to be the people who don't get involved in those technology. They're going to be hesitant from purchasing or investing in those technologies. So it can slow it down, but it's not going to stop it. Just like prohibition for liquor is sometimes what they talk about, what they reference a lot as well. Yet NASCAR comes from the prohibition of liquor, and people in the South and the United States looking to outrun the police when they were making their moonshine. And so now we have people making the Bitcoin and people buying and selling and trading legitimately across the country and getting into this ICO game, this ICO boom. People are freaking out about coins like OMG or like NEO, NEO, and ultimately all of these coins are headed in a single direction. There's huge amounts of money vested. There's teams, there's technologies, there's integrations between these different technologies. There's definitely a lot of room for each of these to play. It's going to be really interesting when we get the second layer stuff put on top of that. But ultimately, this is probably a dip in where we're going. We can definitely hit another dip on top of this. It's probably wise to be diversified and, to really recognize that the more decentralized the technology is, then the greater security it's going to have for everyone across the world. So with that being said, I'd love to know what you think. Instead of me just ranting on and on, put those comments and put those thoughts in the comments box below. Tap that like button. Check us out on Steemit. Give us an upvote or a comment over there. And we'll talk more, and we'll have more information and more news coming from you in the videos in the pending future. So with that being said, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.